If you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do now, Les? Huh? How long are you going to tell everybody at the bus stop and anybody who would stand and listen to you? How long are you going to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? How many times do we have to hear that? Don't go around telling people what your story is. Everybody has a story. 80% don't care and 20% glad it's you. You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm bigger than this. Make a declaration to yourself. Declare all-out war that you're going to get out of this rut. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. They just are not going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. The challenges of life. How do we get stuck? Your mind is, you know, when you go into a service station to get gas, you don't go in there and just start pumping. When you push the lever up, it clears the previous bill. By the same token, if you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. I couldn't move, I couldn't think about what am I going to do. You're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go and move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. Sometimes your life will be in a slump, just like sports. Some of the best shooters can't hit baskets different times in games. They get in a slump. Do they sit on the sideline and say, you know, I just didn't hit a basket today? No, they continue to execute. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy.
You're on the free throw line, your team's down by 1, you get to shoot 2 free throws at 0. Time on the clock, game 7 of the NBA final. Like, we all dream of that. But then when we get in real life, we want to be punks. We get in real life, we soft. It's like, yo, let the gas go up. I'm going to make more money. Let the inflation go up. Game 7. Like, this game 7 in life. Let's go. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I don't even want it to be easy. Everybody would get a PhD. If it was easy to get a PhD, then it wouldn't be valuable. So I tell people, like, look at the tragedies and say, yo, you thought well enough for me to come at me? This is what I do. Cut all the lights off if you want to. You're not gonna stop me because you got all the lights. This is where I thrive. And I'm saying, if you're a real human, because we are a little different than some of the other things that were created. We have a will. There's some things that we have. I'm like, activate it. Instead of crying and quitting and giving up again. We're going to go through pain. Prepare yourself in advance for these situations so that when they come, you have a better chance of controlling those situations and not letting those situations control you.
60%, maybe 80, maybe 90% of my life is gone already. I don't have time. Time is not waiting for me. Time is not my friend. And I'm not talking about your type of time. I'm talking about T-I-M-E. Time don't like nobody. Time hate all of us. Time is trying to stay away from us. You think I'm gonna waste the rest of the time that I got to be operating out here, crying and complaining, blaming somebody? No. So what I'm complaining about?
By the time you have children, by the time you have made a way for your children, by the time you've paid for your home, you're pushing 60 years old. So life is real short. So you add up all your traveling, add up all your sleeping, add up all your school, add up all your entertainment, you've probably been half your life doing nothing. So what am I'm 35 years old, 30 more years, I'll be 65. We don't have no more influence. We can't do nothing much at 65. So we don't have but about 80 years on earth. This is a test to see where will we spend our life in heaven and hell. This is not the life now. Your real self is inside you. Your body gets old. Your hair is leaving you. Your bodies get tired. But your soul and your spirit never die. That's going to live forever. So your body is just housing your soul and spirit. So God is testing us on how we treat each other, how we live.
You know how much time and energy people spend? The average person, and I'm just doing a ballpark figure, they spend years and years, maybe a decade, complaining, bitching, and whining, and still nothing changed. I could be using that time to change my life. I could be using that time to embrace the reality of life and the reality of the shit that I've done to put myself. I paid for my ticket. I got on the train. It was many stops that came. I didn't get off at them stops. I went to the final destination of the shit that I was living in. I went through the process of that dumb shit. I grew up. I evolved from that. Now it's time to live. Now it's time to just be out here on a journey through life, experiencing new things, new ideas, exposure. And that's what I realized. A lot of us don't expose ourselves to new things, new ideas. We're not open to different, open to change. Everything that I want to do is for me. That's why it's here. Everything that you want to do, you can do. That's why it's here. It's just about, are you willing to put the work? Everything is out here for everybody. That's why it's out here. Once you're able to breathe, you got all the tools you need.
Please don't put a limit on what you can do when you haven't even tried to do what you're capable of doing. See, somebody along the way told you were supposed to retire, and at 65, you were supposed to get a check. And we, like idiots, decided that we should cash in our lives at those particular years. That's when we made that decision. And guess what? When you think like that, guess what? You dress like you old, you walk like you old, you talk like you retired. Because somebody told you at this age, you're supposed to throw in the towel. No, if you're willing to pursue your dream, then your goals change and your level of sacrifice change. Was I afraid? Yes. Was I certain there was certainty in what I was doing? No. But also in the back of my mind, I'm gonna tell you, I cheated a little bit. I said I could always go back to IBM. I cheated myself. And then finally after a year, I went, stop cheating yourself.
Why was it cheating yourself?
Because when you want to do something in your life, you don't put options out there. You don't put a B plan. When you don't know where you're going in life, do not look 4 years down the line. Do not look 2 years or a year. You look next week, next month. You keep your goals short. And that way, as you accomplish those goals, then you can start piling up little trophies or little moments to know that you're actually accomplishing something. You're actually climbing the steps to success. And so I always tell people, shorten your goals, shorten your window, and that's how you find your voice. Most people are staying at jobs or working things, or even marriage or relationships, because they fear change. Can I do better? Can I get a better opportunity? Will somebody hire me? Will somebody date me? Will somebody marry me? Will somebody want my kids that I have? That's a fear, and people don't want to make change. So I don't just take it from just an entrepreneurial standpoint. I take that conversation to the social behavior of people when they don't want to make adjustments because they've already told themselves they can't do it. And when you make adjustments, when you stop yourself first, really is sad. Because let somebody else tell you what you cannot do. But in the process of that, prepare for success. In other words, are you willing to put time in your next move? And a lot of people say things like, I'm not a morning person. I don't really know what that means. I really don't. I have 24 hours in the day. I try to take advantage of every hour. And I have certain rules that I initially tell people on a regular basis. If you want to start living a successful life, start locking into a consistent time that you should get up every day. Don't let it deviate. If you say get up at 8 o'clock, don't hit the snooze and get up at 8:30. I get up at 4:30. That's just my time. I'm not a happy guy getting up, but that's a goal I set. And I'm gonna just tell you this honestly. If you're about to make a change in your life and you feel uncomfortable, that's the best feeling you can have. Because for the first time in your life, you're making a decision that's gonna be best for you and not what somebody told you to do. And that's when all bets are off, man, because you're about to enter some uncharted waters that's gonna force you to challenge yourself to be perfect in so many ways. And shooting for perfection is all good. You don't shoot for average, because you're not gonna hit all the time. If you shoot for perfection and you hit good or great, you're winning.
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that are constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm gonna hold on to it. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of spark, you can burn a whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there, because I'm not going to always be motivated.
I don't really like those words. Self-help or self-management or self-improvement. I don't really like what those words have come to mean these days, because there's a lot of people out there that are constantly trying to improve themselves by looking for the one change, right? The one change in their life that's gonna make their dreams come true. Now, I'm no guru, and I definitely don't claim to be. I'm just a man. But I will tell you this, it isn't one thing. And it isn't 10 things, and it isn't 100 things. It isn't a quick path, and there are no shortcuts. Meditation won't get you there, and neither will a miracle drug or an organic supplement or some superfood. Getting better isn't a hack or a trick or a one change that you need to make. Getting better is a campaign. It's a campaign. It's a daily, a weekly, it's an hourly fight. An incessant fight that doesn't stop against weakness and against temptation and against laziness. It's a campaign of discipline. It's a campaign of hard work and dedication. It's waking up early and going to bed late and grinding out every second in between. Every single day. So, you want to get better? You want to self-improve? Stop looking for a shortcut and go find your alarm clock. Find your discipline and find your guts and your passion and your drive and find your will. And then you will find your freedom.
Find somebody that you can help so you can forget about you for a moment. See, sometimes the best thing to do is to be. Sometimes you have to just back up and go within yourself. A bow and arrow, you can't take a bow and just push it out an arrow. You just can't push the arrow out. You have to pull it back and then release it. Sometimes you have to back up and go within and pray and meditate and recharge your batteries. Go away, clear your head, and then come back and look at it from a different vantage point. Don't operate while you're under the spell or the effect of what's going on. Next thing is that you've got to activate the thinker in you. Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. If you don't discipline and contain your emotions, they will use you. Your mind goes on automatic, just like a garden. You know, weeds don't have to have any encouragement to grow. You don't have to water them. They don't have to get sunshine. They don't have to have fertile ground. They will grow through the cracks of a sidewalk. Am I right? But if you want to grow orchids or roses or any kind of exotic flowers, there are special processes and procedures you must go through. Well, by the same token, you don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out.